welcome to the Great Author Show, IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. I'm your host, Dr. Anthony O'Gant, and here's another show. We have another episode where we will be talking to and interviewing another great author in the United States of America. So I'm glad you all can be with me today. I do appreciate you taking out the time to look at the show and listen to the show and meet another great author. If you're looking at us on YouTube right now, hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified of all the shows that we have throughout the week. Have about 50 different shows, so you'll be updated and notified when those shows are available, not just this show here. Also, you can go to Spreaker.com and you can download any show, because sometimes a show may come on, you may be at work, may have some other things to do, but you can download the show so you can see it at another time as well, and download it on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, or your computer. So go to Spreaker.com and you can do that as well. And obviously, you can look at us every week. We interview a different author here on this show. Also, the show on Monday, Great Entrepreneurs, where we interview entrepreneurs from around the country, and then A Greater You on Sundays that we do to help you become a better person. Some of our sponsors for the show, this show today is UnknownGreatness.com, a place where you can find books from independent authors there that you can purchase. We also have another directory that we have that launched in the fall of 2019. That you'll be able to call it Independent Book Authors Directory. And when you'll be able to click on that a person's book, and you'll be able to see all their information, their profile, you can get directly in contact with them and find out where to purchase their books. You'll be able to connect with them on social media, as well as connect with them personally, whatever their websites and emails and phone numbers. So it's a little bit different because it's a little bit more personal. So then you can go straight to the source and you can follow them, get on their news, mailing lists for newsletters and everything like that. So it'll be a directory. It will launch in the fall of 2019, so look out for that. Also, the Achieving Lasting Greatness, that online school will launch as well in September of 2019, so look out for that as well. One of our other sponsors is Helping People Win. They handle all the seminars and showcases that you see me do. They take care of that. And then we also have Love to Learn Center, and they handle all the workshops and trainings and classes that you may attend, some of the things that I do as well. So some of our other sponsors for today, you have Tracy James. Looking for an MC for your event, definitely can give her a call. She's at 708-269-6593, 708-269-6593. You can email her at trayfab@gmail.com, TRAYFAB, as in boy, @gmail.com. If you're looking to get you some business cards, you can contact Brian Jones at Digital Works, and that's WRXX, X-ray, and you can go to digitalworks.com, and you can get tell them that you heard it on the show. You'll be able to get you 2,500 business cards, front and back, laminated, and all that good stuff for $59.95. So less than $60, you get your 2,500 business cards. So definitely get in contact with Tim as well. One of our authors, Luap Abraham, he's an author and speaker. You can purchase his book on how to stay youthful, and you can go visit him at Luap, LOU-AP at 2013 at hotmail.com, and you can get information on him. Jay Styles, he has a book called book that you can get called Shattered But Not Broken. So please forgive me on that. You can reach him at info@JAY-Styles, STYLES.com, or you can call him at 708-566-6446. So those are some of our sponsors for today. Donna Bassetti. She wrote the book entitled By Way of Egypt. You can reach her at Donna Bassetti, email DONNAB, as in boy, at DawsonTwins.com, 708-747-6822. So those are some of the authors. So I try to promote people all the time. So you can, even though I may have interviewed them, I still try to promote them so that you can actually stay in contact with them and purchase their information and pass this information on to your friends as well. So I have got through the preliminaries here, the appetizer, as I always call it. And now for the main course meal that we have. And we have the author that we have for tonight is Bart Bartlett. Are you there, Bart?
I am here, Dr. Dan. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Thank you for coming on the show. I do appreciate it. I know you're going to give us a lot of good information on this great book that you've written. I remember when it first came out. So it's an awesome book, and I think people are going to enjoy some of the things we talk about. The name of the book is My Moment to Succeed. So it's a great
Yes.
book. I'm holding it up so people can see that on the camera and everything.
Nice.
So before we get into the book, who is Bart Bartlett?
Who is Bart Bartlett? I am someone that has been given a renewal on life, if you will.
Okay.
One of the things that I discovered as a kid growing up and going through college and getting my degrees and all that good stuff is that I really focused on becoming a one percenter. That was my goal. I was not going to stop until I got there. But Tony, as you all know, you got to be specific in what you want to do.
Right.
And I was not specific. So in the end of April 2015, a doctor told me I only had a couple of days left. And I was like, what? And I knew I had a heart condition, but thought nothing of it. Everything had been great for years. And come to find out, I had a congenital heart defect that is found in only 1% of the population.
Oh, wow.
So I achieved my goal. It was the goal that I searched out for, you know?
Right.
I was looking for at least 2 commas before the decimal. You know?
Right.
But what I discovered about myself was I had a rare defect that was only inherited from one's father. That's the only way you get that. That's how rare it is. And my dad died when I was a kid. And so that was pretty, eye-opening to me. But I remember going through the surgery, it being successful, and waking up, and the very first thought I had, this is honest, the very first thought I had was, there's a reason I woke up. I got to find that reason. And for years, I've been a real champion of personal empowerment, personal development, but never really felt it until that moment. And so I have been on that journey ever since, and I have not been a person that has said I have to go from A to Z by going through B, C, D, E, F. I can jump around if I want to go a different direction.
Right.
And that's what I've done. And it's brought me into alliance with a number of people, you being one. This would have never happened had that not happened. And so I really started thinking about who I am, where I am, and where I'm going. And I developed a little 2-week e-course as part of my business in the training and speaking and all that I do. And from that 2-week e-course, I said, you know what, that's not enough. And really what tipped it all off is it brought back to me a real poignant moment in my life. I remember back in the 1980s when a young aspiring artist named Whitney Houston sang a song for the Olympics entitled One Moment in Time. And that song just resonated with me. You know, it's the one moment in time where you can be all that you can be. And I thought, wow, that's my anthem. That's my theme song. Well, fast forward about, I don't know, nearly 30 years later after that, or 25 years later, and I'm in New York City, my favorite city in the world. And Chicago second, a real close second.
Yeah, I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you since we're on radio.
Okay. I'm in New York, and times have been kind of rough, and I knew I had this heart condition, but didn't know how serious it was, and I was throwing myself a real big pity party. And I walked by right in front of Radio City Music Hall, and on the marquee it said, "Appearing tonight, Aretha Franklin." And I thought, man, will I ever get this chance again? So I went in not even thinking, and I walked up to the box office, and I said, I want to buy 1 ticket. Give me the best seat you have. I don't care. And she said, we have front row mezzanine. I said, I'll take it. $85. I said, I'll take it. So I took it. What I didn't realize is that performance that night was the night of the day they buried her niece, Whitney Houston. And that night, she did a tribute to Whitney and sang that song. And it was a moment for me to think, okay, there's a reason all this stuff has happened. And so I remember after surgery, laying in bed, thinking about things and realizing, you know what? That moment was one of my one moments in time when I really took a step back and said, I've got to do something. And then that's how all this became, and the book started coming about, and really working, because I thought to myself, it takes 30 days to make a habit. And what is the one thing that people dread about every 30 days? And that is that the rent is due, or the mortgage is due.
Right.
So how do you change your life before that happens? And that's how this whole book came about with it.
I like that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Right, that's an awesome story. I mean that's really good. So let's get into the book, because I like the way you had the book set up, because you have the book set up like some people have chapters and things of that nature. You have day 1 through day 30, right? So I like the way you have that. And I'm just going to read off some of the because you're calling us from the great state of Missouri, right?
Right.
Okay, right. I have to let people know where people call me from sometimes, so they know. Everybody in Chicago with you? No, they all over the country, right? But you have some. I like some. I'm gonna read off some of the table of contents. Like you have dress for success. You have make room for surprises. You have something, discover a creative outlet. Be more open each day. Minimize your belongings. Uh, be receptive to change. So you have a lot of good table of contents here. So we're gonna go over some of them. I'm gonna start with let's go over day 15.
Day 15. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite day in the whole book.
Favorite day in the whole book. The middle. Well, yeah. So it's prioritize people.
Right.
So let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah. When I was doing my studying and really working through a lot with personal development, personal empowerment, two people really stood out for me that are mentors and really the icons of the world. And one was Dr. Murray Banks, who's no longer with us. And I used to listen to his cassette tape. If any of your viewers even know what a cassette tape is.
Yeah, I remember those.
That's the Murray's cassette tapes. And he had a mantra, really, that said, if you can see it, if you can feel it, if you can smell it, if you can taste it, you cannot not make it happen. And that stuck with me, because it said, if it's in you and you know this is who you are, what you got to achieve, then you got to do it. And I kept asking myself, but how? And then I started studying the works of Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn teaches something real powerful, and it is that you are the average of the 5 people you most associate with. So you got to prioritize the people in your life. And even goes as far as saying, it's probably true of any of your viewers and listeners tonight, that if you look at the 5 people you most associate with and take their average salary of those 5 people, that's probably pretty close to your average. And I got to looking at that and thinking about that, and I thought, well, a lot of times the 5 people are family members. So how do you deal with that? Well, it's not so much about telling a family member you're no longer in my top 5, or telling a good neighbor or a good friend you're not in my top 5. Right. It's about aligning yourself with someone a little bit better, has a little bit different talent, a little bit different creativeness. And when I do my training, I show a video of an NCAA championship basketball game, and I love March Madness. I live for March Madness, and the metaphor to that is, who's on the sideline? It's a coach, and we can talk about coach mentors later on. But there's a coach on the sideline, and what does that coach do? He changes up the 5 players on that court in his team. And he does that to achieve a different result.
I like that.
And that really hit hard to me. That's what you got to do in your life. And the one thing I learned along the way, too, is that God, the universe, nature, whomever you look toward, they all have a sense of humor. And they will put people in that 5 in your life there on purpose just to give you a wake-up call. So that's going to happen to you when you go out there with it. And so that's really what it's about. It's about that you're the average of the 5. And when you look at that, perhaps there's 3 people that you always want to be up there, that you aspire to be. And the beauty of where we live today, Tony, and what's going on, is like with you and me right here tonight. We don't have to be in the same room. Mm-hmm. The power of the internet, the power of technology, the power of social media, someone in your top 5 can be someone you have never met.
That's true.
But it's someone that you aspire to. It's someone that you associate with on a continuous basis. And that's something that I think is just really, really powerful out there with it. Mm. And so, to me, that's something that I always keep in the forefront of who do I prioritize? Who are the 5 people? And there's times when I look at things that aren't going the way I want it to go, and I realize, I didn't realize these were the 5 people I'm associating with right now. Yeah.
Right. I like that. I always say that you're going to smell like who you hug up against.
Ooh, I like that one. That's a really good one. That's a really good one. Yeah.
Right. You hug up with the wrong people, man. You said, why my wife looking like that? Well, it's who you hugging up with. I used to always tell my children when they were growing up, I said, you know how you ask kids, are you doing this right or doing this wrong when they're not with you, and they tell you, what they're supposed to say. I'm doing everything right. Exactly what you told me, right? Exactly. And I said, you don't have to tell me that. I never really have to ask you that, because I can look at your friends, and your friends will tell me who you are. Because your friends always tell on you. See, if you say, all my friends rob a bank but me, I don't know. Y'all friends, so you might be robbing banks too. Right? So
that's exactly right.
I'm big on who you around, because your friends will tell you who and what you are at the moment, and your mentors could tell you who you can become in the future.
Exactly right. You're spot on with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like that, prioritizing people. And I think sometimes we just don't know how to do that. We just kind of fall in groups and kind of roll with that for the next 20 years. We don't like prioritize because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right? And we got a raggedy friend or raggedy, relative and everything. They always like fighting, right? So we go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think one of the hard questions you have to ask yourself is, are you one of their 5?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And like if you're not, why not? And it could be that they're at such a level, you're not there yet, but that's what you're aspiring to. And that's a whole different conversation. Mm-hmm. But you're right. There's people, especially when you start talking about popularity groups, especially the young people that I work with. I mean, that is so important to them, how many likes they get on Instagram, or, what someone's saying to them in Snapchat or whatever. That's not what's important. What's important is the message they're telling themselves. That's what's important.
Right. That's true. You're right about that. I like that, prioritizing people. Let's talk about day 28.
Okay.
Give of your time.
Oh, yeah. Along the way, one of the things that I realized is that whatever you do, there's got to be a philanthropic part of what you do. Otherwise, why do you do it? Okay. And it's kind of like the boomerang effect. When you give something out, something good comes back to you. It's that type of effect. And so when I was doing a lot of my work, when I first started working with some people up in New York in the entertainment community, Broadway community and stuff, I came across an organization that really started resonating with me, and it's called Broadway Cares. And if any of your listeners ever go to a show there in Chicago, there's a Broadway show, they'll find the red buckets in the lobby, and the actors will take that money for Broadway Cares. And it's a phenomenal organization. Well, every September, they have a flea market down Times Square and down Schubert Alley. And I would go up and work that. I was invited up by a guy who was in the Book of Mormon, the musical Book of Mormon, when they come up and work in booths with him. So I did. And I realized just doing that, camaraderie and the love that all these people in this community have for each other and for what they're doing. And I asked one of them, I said, so where does all this money go? And it says it goes all over the world. I mean, that weekend we raised well over $1 million.
Wow.
Just selling stuff that was Broadway paraphernalia and autographed playbills and posters and stuff. And it went to feed people who were traumatized, if you will, by AIDS. And it could be people in villages in South Africa that were giving food to the people in South Africa that were in communities that were just so traumatized by it. There's organizations here in St. Louis, organizations there in Chicago that receive it. And what I was watching and seeing here is that these were people coming together for a cause and a purpose, and they never knew who the receiver was going to be, but they believed in the organization and the purpose so much. That's all that mattered. So the purpose became the purpose. And I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful. And so I started thinking about, giving of your time and about neighborhoods and associations and things that people do with churches and with local associations and stuff. And that really started resonating with me. And where it really all kind of came about is when I got my first start, and this was kind of a bone-chilling moment, when I got my first real start in progressive development, personal development rather, it was with a gentleman who was working with a bunch of young people, and he had a program he called The Power of Positive Students. It was called the POPS program. And pretty much went through student councils all across the country. And they did this Power of Positive Students to create a positive atmosphere in school. And the guy who was doing this was the director of guidance and counseling for the Jefferson County Public Schools in Denver, Colorado. This was back in the 1980s, early 1990s. And I was asked to speak at a convention that the Student Council Convention had down in Texas, and I was there and I was speaking at it. This guy was there. And it was just a tremendous, tremendous event. And this took place like in 92, I guess it was. In 1999, at Jefferson County Public Schools in Denver, Colorado, something happened at Columbine High School. He was the counselor at that high school. And I was like, wow. Just that moment in time of seeing those parallels starting to take place, and then seeing how people rallied and people were there. It didn't matter who you were, they were there to support you. They may not know you, but they were there to support you. So they were giving of themselves and of their time with this. And it was like, that is just really something powerful, to the point that when I was growing up, I was taught you give 10% of your money in tithing, of your salary in tithing. And I thought, okay, so I made $1, I'll give you a dime. I made $10, give you $1.
Right.
It didn't mean anything until I could associate it with giving of my time. And so as I've gotten older, I volunteer, and from time to time, and I was volunteering just recently at a what they call a backpack ministry here in St. Louis, and it was through a personal development class that I was working with, and we all went over this place, and we did what they call a backpack ministry, and we were taking big bags. They weren't backpacks, they were bags, and we were filling them full of food. And I said, this is cool. So what's this for? He said, well, we take them over to the schools and give it to the kids so they have food to eat on the weekend. We give it to them on Friday afternoon. And I was right. I'm like, elementary school? He said, well, there's that too. But the lady said, you'll be surprised at the number of high school kids that take this home. And I said, oh? I said, yeah, in fact, there's a couple of seniors from high school just down the street, but one of them is being recruited by colleges, by some of the top colleges in the country right now to play football. He didn't have food to eat on the weekend. And it just really stuck with me that is just something that we take for granted. But by me giving up an afternoon, there it is. So I align myself with the person who heads up an organization called Good Meets People. And at least once a month, I go to Zach's organization and we do something just to give us some time, because I feel like, I can go home and get in bed at night.
Right.
A lot of people can't do that.
That's true. That's just powerful there. Wow, that's powerful. I like that. And you know what I like about your book is that you have about four or five pages per day.
Right.
So it's something that you can read every month, right? It's almost like today at the 16th, you can read the 16th, right? You can,
Right.
That's what I like about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And being an author yourself, Tony, you do these things and you don't realize what really happens with some of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a presentation on the book, and this lady had it. She was reading, and I had been reading it work. And she says, what I love about your book? I said, what's that? She says, it doesn't matter which day you start with. You can start with any day. You can skip around. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because she said, whatever you do yesterday, you got to do again tomorrow, and today and tomorrow. And I thought, well, that's right.
Yeah.
You have to do it cumulatively. Skip around.
Right.
And one of the things that about giving your time, it's one of the things that Oprah, shout out to Chicago here, that Oprah does. And Oprah says, do random acts of spontaneous kindness. Mm-hmm. And that's something I really talk about, is that open the door for someone. Say thank you. Mm-hmm. If somebody drops something, pick it up and hand it to them. Do a random act of spontaneous kindness. Because when you do that, you put out to the universe, hey, I'm doing this, and the universe takes notice of it. And the moment that you really need something good to happen spontaneously, guess what? It's going to happen.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, you want to read what you sow. That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that. I mean, I think the way you had the book set up, I mean, it's really a clean read. Mm-hmm. And like I said, you can read it. I always encourage people to read books like more than one time. Right.
Right.
And some books, even though I'm an author, I've written a lot of books. Sometimes people don't want to read 12, 14 chapters again they read last month. Right.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm an advocate of reading, and your book is really lined up that they can actually read it every month, because they can read, this is day 3, this is the 5th of the month, this is the 10th of the month, and they can read those days. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like they're reading, like when I write a book and I might have 12, 14, 16 pages in a chapter. They have 4 or 5 pages, and they can go through this in a year, 10, 12 times in a year, which is good. That's good. I like that. That's a really good idea that you came up with. Cool. Yeah, it is.
There's another new one I learned. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. I mean, that is exactly what a person could do.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, they'll pick up on it. One of the days of the week is you just smile at someone you don't know. Because guess what? That's going to come back to you.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, I'm up here in Chicago, and sometimes people don't like smiling at each other and all that stuff. They don't take too kindly that all the time. But I know once I go south a lot, when I'm in the southern part of the country, people are probably a little bit more friendly. They speak to everybody. It's good morning, good afternoon, good evening, right? So it's a little bit more. You have that type of atmosphere down there, so and which is good. And that shows you different parts of the country just do things differently, right? They kind of get with people differently and act differently towards people. So that's a real good thing. Let's talk about day 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Since we're talking about the good things you talk about with giving back and smiling, practice gratitude.
Yeah, it's funny. Growing up, you always were told to be grateful for what you got and what you're given, and you give out people. It's a holiday time. You do a Christmas list or whatever, and you're grateful that someone bought you that or got this or whatever. And I think along the way, at least for me, I forgot or didn't recognize rather the real basic things I really ought to be grateful for. And one of my favorite movies is The Blind Side. And when Leanne and them adopt Big Mike, and Big Mike comes into the house and spends the night, and then Leanne says, "You want to be part of this family?" And Big Mike says, "Yeah, I thought I was." And she gives them a bedroom, and Big Mike goes, "I never had one of these." And Leanne goes, "What? A bedroom for yourself?" And Big Mike goes, "A bed."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
here's a high school kid, never had a bed. And I thought, I crawl in bed every night.
Right.
With fairly clean sheets most of the time.
Right.
But I'll give gratitude for that. I better.
Mm-hmm.
Because there may come a time I won't have that.
Yeah.
You know, the hot shower. You know, I'm not a fan at all of ramen noodles, but there may come a time I'm grateful for ramen noodles.
Right.
You know?
That's true. That's true.
But it is true, and just like when I was doing the backpack ministry thing with the kids for the food for the weekend, and we were given these. I could just visualize these big senior football and basketball guys. We're getting 2 cans of green beans. That's a snack.
Yeah.
That's not a meal. That's a snack.
That's a snack. That's a tease. Hey, that's enough to get somebody mad.
Yeah, and my thing was, oh my God, you know, I even said to the lady, I said, "Who are these people?" She says, "We don't know. We can't know." And I thought, there's something to be grateful for right there. They're protecting the innocence and the privacy of these kids. And I'm like, wow, you know, you just don't realize what all you have that to be grateful for. You know, the fact that you have toothpaste and soap.
Right.
You know, it really is. So practice gratitude. I even talk in the book about that. Make yourself a gratitude list and list the things that you're grateful for, and you know, really be happy in the moment. I saw a thing. In fact, I was watching The Secret the other day again. And if you folks haven't watched The Secret, go out to YouTube and watch it. It's a very powerful message. But The Secret says that happiness exists only in that moment. And I thought, wow, that is true. Happiness is momentary. It only happens right then. If you don't believe that, how many people do you know that have mood swings?
Yeah.
But just be grateful for that moment of happiness, and you know, spread it throughout the day. That you've got those moments of happiness with it, because the adverse of gratitude is anxiety. And the way to get rid of anxiety is to be grateful.
Right. That makes sense.
And I think we forget that. I think we often forget that.
Yeah, I think sometimes, but we get kind of, and I know this is with me too, and anybody that you get kind of caught up in the day to day, and you know, you kind of say you're grateful as you're running out the house. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get to the next thing, and sometimes you don't look at it as, oh yeah, I have toothpaste. I'm grateful, right? You don't. You don't go through those motions sometime until sometimes it's unfortunate we have to lose things or not have things. Then we start saying, "Oh yeah, I'm grateful. I don't have any toothpaste, but I'm glad I have some now." And I think sometimes that's why I think it's consciously, you know, being grateful and doing better and being better. I think it's really so consciously done. Like you have to really force yourself for a long time, you know, to think about these things because it doesn't take much for you not to think about being grateful. Not saying that you're a bad person. It just, like I said, it is what it is. You wake up late or, you know, something happened yesterday. Like I said, you just don't go through this list. I'm grateful for my shoes. I'm grateful for heat. I'm grateful for, you know, I got a stove. You don't go through all that. I got a bed. You just jump in it and might complain about the fact the mattress is old, you know, something like that, you know. And somebody don't even have a mattress, right? They don't. So that's. I like the way, like I say, it's that when you look at it, that you have to do things consciously and really think about it. I try to make my personally, you know, like list some things I do every day, even though I know I'm going to do them every morning when I wake up and all these things, but I still put it in my planner that do these things because I got to remind myself. Because if I don't, even though I've been doing it for years, I may just wake up 10 minutes late and don't do it. I may get a call or something in the morning and change my whole paradigm for the day. Right. So I started practicing a few years ago. I made this a practice, and a lot of my family members they get mad at me because in the morning I'm never looking at my phone. Like I don't look at my phone until for like a couple of hours, right? So I may get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I might not look at my phone till close to 10 o'clock. So I might be up 3 or 4 hours, and I realized the reason why I started doing that. I don't even sleep with my phone by me, right? So at night, we put our phone on the nightstand or whatever. And the reason being is because at one time I would get up. First thing I do right when I wake up is look at the phone. And then if I woke up in the middle of the night, I look at the phone, reading something or whatever. And I could never rest well because it seemed like I had to look at that phone before I did anything else in the morning. So I start putting the phone away from me. But then in my planner, I had to do these things first before I started doing anything else. I had this little checklist. And one of them was like be grateful, said thank you for giving the opportunity, not just waking up, but you can't get out the bed, what I'm saying? I mean, you can wiggle your toes or whatever, right? Just trying to be as cognizant as I can. And that's what I like about what you have here in day 3. Yeah.
It's really cool that there's a gentleman, your viewers may recognize the name is General William McCraven. He was the guy who headed up the forces that took out Osama bin Laden. Mm-hmm. McCraven is now the chancellor down at the University of Texas, where I did my work.
Okay.
But he's written a book, they're talking about books, and it's called Make Your Bed. And there's a YouTube video out there of him giving his commencement address at UT before he became chancellor. And here's what he says, goes right there with gratitude and everything else. He says, every morning, make your bed. Because when you make your bed, you start your day with an accomplishment.
Oh, okay.
And be grateful for that accomplishment. And I think about it, and I write about in the book and one of the days about that. And I talk about, when you go to a hotel room and you walk in, what's the one thing that impressed you the most? The bed is made, the towels are hanging, there's toiletries there, everything is nice and clean, and you come home and you walk in the room, it's like you may have had a hard day, but you're in a hotel room and you relax. The same thing is true at your house. You don't know what your day is going to bring to you. But when you walk in the bedroom at night and that bed is made, everything's picked up, it's not a disarray, which is a metaphor for what your life is becoming.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if my mom or dad taught me this or the military made me make my bed up every day. But I don't. Even though I think I like the way it looked. Right. I think.
I like an unmade bed.
Yeah.
I like an unmade bed.
Even though I even though I'm gonna be back in it tonight, it's just something about the way it looks.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't. But I like the way you said you accomplished something in the morning. So now I know next time. Yeah, it's okay. That's a good way to look at it. Okay, that's good. I like that. That's all right. Now what book is that he wrote again?
It's called Make Your Bed.
Okay, got it. Okay.
It's a quick read. It's probably 100-something pages. It's a quick read.
Okay.
But it's real powerful. You can go out to the YouTube video and YouTube Make Your Bed or McCraven Make Your Bed. Mm-hmm. It is the commencement address he did. And that's something else. One of the things I do when I get into these laws, like we all do, and if I don't feel like reading or whatever, but I want to be inspired, YouTube is a great tool. Mm-hmm. There's some great commencement addresses out there. There's some great little TED Talks out there. You can pull up and in 10 or 15 minutes, your whole attitude changes.
Right. That's true. You're right about that. Yeah. Before we go any further in the book, tell people where we can get the book, Bart.
It's out on Amazon.com. Mm-hmm. Is one place. Or you can go out to my website, gogetbart.com, and the book is out there on that. And if someone orders it, there's a place out on my website to send me an email. Email me that you've ordered the book, and I will personalize it for you, autograph it for you. So if you want to give it as a gift or something, tell me the person's name, what you want me to say, and I'll put all that in there and sign it for him. Yeah.
That's good there. And he will sign it, y'all, because mine is signed. So I know he will. So he will do that. So So let's go, because this is your first book. I know you have some other ones coming out, right, in the future.
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay, so because you do a lot of training, because you do some things in the acting world yourself, though, don't you?
That's really my passion there. I don't do anything on the stage anymore than really inspire people, but I work with a number of people who are in that profession, helping them realize that, and this is true with anything in life, the next no you're going to hear is one note closer to the next yes you're going to hear.
That's true. That's true.
And that the only way, the absolute only way to fail is to quit.
Yeah.
Because if you go and do something and don't succeed to the standards you want to succeed, but you learn something from it, that's become a learning experience, and that's how you grow and get better and get stronger. And at the end of the book here, one of my favorite pieces, the very, very end, where I talk about never give up, and it's about, there's about 35 or 40 people back there that you know their names, but you don't realize what their backstory was. There's a quick sentence or two about what they had to overcome in order to become who they are.
Yeah.
And that's true, you know.
Yeah, you do. You have, because I want to talk about a couple of these too. Let's talk about American Express.
Yeah, let me go back there to it. Yeah, American Express. That was kind of cool. American Express actually got started because the mail delivery was so slow. And so American Express used to deliver mail across the country because they used horses to deliver the mail, for the U.S. Mail service did it by walking. And that's how they got across the country with it.
Right. Okay. Because I like how you had this well, I'm gonna call it chapter for this. You have a setback is a setup for a comeback. Dr. Willie Jolly. Yeah.
What a great man. There's a couple of influences in my life besides Murray Banks and Jim Rohn, and two of them are Willie Jolly and Les Brown. You know, and I quote Les Brown a lot in the book, because Les Brown teaches, if you're the richest, smartest person in your group,
right,
you're in the wrong group.
You're in the wrong group, right?
You're in the wrong group.
Yeah.
Because, so how are you going to succeed? But when Willie says that a setback is a setup for a comeback.
That's right.
That's so true.
That is true.
That's so true.
That is true. You're right about that.
Yeah.
I always say that, you know, because people, like you said, don't want to fail, don't want to hear no. And obviously, if we had a perfect world, you want to hear yes all the time, right?
Right.
But we're not in a perfect world. And, you know, I used to, when I first got into business, maybe about 30 years ago, and I used to, you know, because I didn't like hearing no, still don't like hearing no today, but but when I'm first getting into business, people tell you no with no problem, right? And they tell you that anyway. So I said, I had to come up with something better, Bart, because this no is almost like scaring me to death. You know what I mean? And so I said, well, you know, I'm trying to figure out a new way to associate this no, and I just turned the word, you know, switch the letters N-O and turned to on. And I said, well, anything that's on, like a light or whatever, the longer it's on, the hotter it gets.
You're exactly right.
Right. So I said, when people, I'm getting all these, no, I'm getting hot. Right? I mean, I'm getting hot. I'm getting so hot that you can't even touch me. I'm so hot, right? So that's how I had to, you know, I had to turn myself, you know, because you had to change some things around, because sometimes some failures in life and some challenges in life are devastating. They traumatic, and they're some days some things happen. You say, I'm just going to bed, and if I don't wake up, I'm good. Right? You know what I mean? I'm just going to bed because I can't handle another day like this, right? But then you wake up and you have to figure out how to deal with these areas of your life. You know, that these no's and disappointments, and I thought this was going to happen this way, it didn't, and so now how do you get past that? Because it's easy. I always tell people that one of the easiest things to do really is to quit, right?
It is. That's the easiest thing to do, is quit.
It's just walk away, right? But I tell people, you notice you have so much fight within quitting. You debate yourself with quitting. Okay, one more day. Wait, I'm gonna try it into the next week. And you're doing all this, but you never debate with winning. You just debate with quitting. Because winning for a human being is natural. Quitting isn't. That's why you're debating with it. Like, okay, Friday is gonna be my last day. Well, wait a minute. I'm gonna quit. Wait a minute. I'm gonna quit on life next month. because of the fact that it's not natural. So never giving up. I'm gonna come back to this chapter, but I want to go to chapter 21.
Okay.
Wait, no, yeah, seek out mentors, right? Because I think that goes along with what you're saying right here too.
Well, exactly. And when you look at it, and I mentioned these people in the book. You look at people like Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah, Adele, Lady Gaga, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Barack Obama, Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, one of my idols, Viola Davis, Morgan Freeman. What do all those people have in common? And most folks say, well, they're rich. They're household names. Yeah, but what else they have in common? Every one of those people have a coach and a mentor. Every one. They have someone there, also called an accountability partner. Michael Phelps did not become the most decorated Olympiad and win 28 medals because he could swim. He had a coach that coached him how to swim. And the coach may not be able to perform at the level Michael Phelps performed at, but he could see things in Michael Phelps that would teach him how to perform at a higher level. Right. And this is where the whole thing with Les Brown comes in about being the smartest, wealthiest person in the group. You've got to have a mentor. And it doesn't need to be someone that is a best friend, because a lot of times best friends won't tell you what you need to hear. Right. But there are people out there that are mentors, and your mentors can change up too. Yeah. And as you grow and change and move, your mentors also change. Duke University basketball team would not be where they are if it wasn't for Coach B. Just wouldn't be there. Right. I hate to say this because it's a bad taste in my mouth on this, but the New England Patriots wouldn't be there without Bill Belichick. Right. That's too right. It just wouldn't happen. When you look at that, that's what it is. And I think one of the best examples of really looking at the mentor, and don't tell anybody in St. Louis I'm saying this, but one of the best examples are the Chicago Cubs. Look how long their drought went. And people say it's never going to happen. And they found the right chemistry, the right coach, everything aligned up, and look what happened. Right. That's true. And that's where it really starts to come in. And a big part of that too is having empathy, because your mentor you probably is not going to always agree with, but you're going to have respect for them. And that respect comes from the fact that they respect you. Right. That's true. And something too, you were naming some people. Some people may not realize that Whitney Houston had a voice coach. Yep, she did. And Adele has a voice coach. Yeah. And people think, wow, they sing so well. I wish I could sing half as good as them, but they actually knew they can sing well, but still had coaches. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that it's good to have a coach, because like you said, even though Michael Phelps is in the water swimming, the coach is outside, or like you said earlier, like the basketball coach, see the first 5 people and put a different chemistry, a different group of people out there to do a different result. And when you're in the midst of some things, Bart, you don't see out. You can't see out to see in, because you're in the midst of it. And a coach can kind of, and a mentor. That's why I always tell people that you should get mentors, because a mentor probably already walked down that street before. Absolutely, they have. They know where the potholes are. They know where the bad steps and brick walls. They know where a lot of things are. Now they can't tell you everything because no one knows everything, but they can say, "Listen, I walk down this street, and you better make sure you have some good boots on, because right around the middle of the block, you're gonna step in all this mud." That's right. And the best boots to wear, there's something else, right? And the best boots to wear during that time are these. Buy 5 pair of those or whatever, right? And the way you clean them, and a mentor, in my opinion, Bart, a mentor can save you, or a coach, but a mentor, since we're saying this, can save you a good 5 to 10 years. Oh, absolutely it can. Yeah. And they also can tell you, don't expect this to happen overnight. Yeah. But if you keep doing this and this and this, I can assure you it is going to happen. Right. It's not going to happen overnight. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people just get real timid with trying to achieve because they're so used to the spontaneous, instantaneous stuff that we're, if I turn on my computer, I expect it to fire up pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well, there was a time I had to use dial-up.
Right. That's right. Yeah. One time I was a couple of weeks ago, and I think I was having problems. My computer was moving slow,
Right.
and I'm getting all frustrated. Like, what's taking it so long? Must be another one. Then I thought about, early 2000s. You had to hear all that noise, all that stuff, right? And before it actually came on, and you didn't run whatever it took, 5 minutes or whatever, and you would walk around, go get you something to drink, come back, you know. But now, when I push the button, it's supposed to be on, ready to go. And I think, like you said, we're so used to this instantaneous type of lifestyle that a mentor would tell you the truth and say, listen, it's going to take you probably 5 years to do that. And we don't want to hear that all the time. That's why I think so many people get fooled and get caught up in so many things like, hey, over a weekend, you can be a millionaire. Come in on Friday, you'll be a millionaire by Sunday. Just come on in. And people go there in droves. And if you sit back and think about it, wait a minute, how old are you? I'm 45. All right. How long you been wanting to be a millionaire? 25 years. So you think you're going to walk into something on a Saturday and be a millionaire by Sunday? And it took you 25 years to figure out how to get to $50,000 or whatever. And I think a lot of times that's why people get fooled. I think that's why, unfortunately, in some cases with social media, people can sell you this stuff that you can have 55,000 clients in in 10 minutes. And that stuff is not realistic because of the fact that we all know things take time. We all know that. We may not want to put the time in, but we all know that it takes time. You can't get a degree overnight. It takes about 4 years to get a college degree, right?
That's right.
In most cases.
If a person could do that, they wouldn't be telling you. You'd be there asking them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have to tell you they can do it. You would know they can do it.
That's right. And that's what I think hurts a lot of people. So I really believe that people should have mentors. We got a couple of minutes left, Bart. I want to make sure people get your information again so they can purchase your book. So tell us where we can get your book again, your website, where we can get it.
The fastest way is to go to my website, which is gogetbart.com. Gogetbart.com. And there's a link out there. It's also out on Amazon. You just search for My Moment to Succeed, and you'll see that. It's the cover, as you showed them, has got a picture of the sun rising, and that actually was a photo I took in Puerto Vallarta. And that's on the cover of the thing because, I want to end with probably my favorite quote in the whole book, and it is the dedication of the book, and it comes from a young man named Benji Schwimmer. And Benji and I have talked many times, and I've never met him. But Benji won the second season of So You Think You Can Dance, and has really had an amazing storied adulthood life. And he has a quote, and he said, every morning you have two choices. You can continue to sleep with your dreams, or you can wake up and chase them. And I'm like, yep, that's what you do. Getting out of that bed and getting that bed made is the first step in you making accomplishments you've never thought you can make before.
I like to say that one more time.
Every morning you have two choices. You can continue to sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, Benji's a really cool young man. Does some phenomenal work, and just a really, really cool guy, and multi-talented. And I reached out to him when I was writing the book, and I said, Benji, you don't know who I am, but here's who I am, and this has really touched me. Your quote did, and here's what it means to me. And we talked for a while, and he said, use it. Use that quote as long as you'll send me some copies of your book. And I did, and they're sitting in his studio there in LA.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, that's cool. But so you never know when you're going to run across something that's going to touch someone and impact them. And that's the beauty of you finding that moment to speak.
Okay, I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, you're right about that. That's good, Bart. This has been awesome. Obviously I've talked to you several times. We didn't talk longer than this. Right. But you wrote a really good book. I mean, I know you do a lot of traveling because people can call you in to speak and all those things too, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I travel all over, and I love writing. I love speaking. I love working with groups and small groups, and doing team building activities. So it's all out there, and all my social media stuff's out there, as well as how to get in contact with me.
Hmm.
So and all I would say is just have your people say, "Hey, I heard this on the Tony Gant show,"
Hmm.
and that's gonna really pay well for them when they do that,
Okay.
because you're someone I highly admire.
Well, thank you.
I mean, you have some great things going on.
Well, thank you very much, Bart. I do appreciate that. And same here. Same here. So I do appreciate you taking the time to spend the time with us and sharing with the audience about your great book, My Moment to Succeed, transforming your life before the rent is due. I like
That's
that.
right.
So it's a great book. I mean, nice, clean read. You read it every month. Oh well, you know what? I want people to when they purchase the book, you go to your birthday, whatever day your birthday is on, the 10th, 12th, 15th, whatever,
Right.
and read that one first, and then
Hey, I love that.
like
That's an awesome idea. That's
yeah,
an awesome idea.
yeah. Then
Yeah.
then find you if you got a spouse or something, then read their date, and you got a child, read their
Yep.
date. So then you can get this book, and for young adults and kids or anything like that, you can get this
Right.
book for them, and then this can be a good reading tool you all can discuss in your household.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Absolutely.
it's a great
Yeah.
book. Thank you. I thank you again, Bart, for you taking the time. I do really, really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you, Tony, and we'll talk again soon.
Yes, we will. You have a great night, okay?
You too. Bye
Thank you.
now.
Bye bye. So that was Bart Bartlett on his book, My Moment to Succeed. Great book. I mean, very, very clean read. So you can be able to get that book there. So I do appreciate you all being on and listening to us tonight here on the show. Keep in mind that we have the Monday show, the Sunday show on A Greater You. We'll be out the book. It's great. Seven Pillars to a Healthy Relationship. So we'll be teaching on that some more. It's Monday, a great entrepreneur. So we'll be interviewing someone else as well on their business. Next Thursday we'll be here again interviewing someone else. So obviously the platform is here. Again, if you're looking at this on YouTube right now, I want you to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of all the great shows that's on throughout the week here at intellectualradio.com. And then if you also if you can go to Spreaker.com, download the shows that you like, that you can see them you have the opportunity, and you can download them on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, or your computer. Also, I would like you all to tell one or two of your friends about intellectualradio.com and look at some of the shows on here. Not just this one, but a lot of great shows throughout the week. So just do me a favor. Every week you see me, tell one different friend, go to youtube.com, Intellectual Radio, and hit the subscribe button so they can be notified as well on the great shows. And keep in mind that great authors aren't born, they're made. And I'll see you next time.